Go ahead.
Coach, you hit a lot of big plays today. Did you like that? And then maybe Friday's scrimmage too. What do you think about that coming out of that?
No, I did. As anybody knows, that's watched us not only last year but over the years. Like when we can produce explosive plays, and it's something that we harp on a ton. Just finding ways to create them. When we can create those explosive plays, that's when we can be really, really special on offense. And so, hit a lot more today than we were able to on Friday. Hit some, but I think it was just. I think the guys did a great job of learning from Friday, because we made some things really hard on ourselves on Friday in the scrimmage. Like it honestly felt like. It felt like just a reminder of like the first 6-7 games last year. Like we just made everything so hard, and I thought they did a great job of just responding and learning from the scrimmage, and took it to the practice field today. And I think that's what produced some of those things.
When you're building off those explosive plays, seems like a lot of times the receivers did a very good job of getting back on top of the defensive back, stemming their routes. How well do you think the receiver group's coming along from just kind of a mental standpoint playing the game?
No, they're doing a great job, and that's where it's such a good room, because you've got such a good mix of older and younger players. And when you've got like young guys, and I still consider Yannick being one of our younger guys, he's able to learn from Tyler Johnson, even though he just got here. He's an older guy that's played football. He's learned from Anthony. Guys like him, Jiren, Malik Leverett, who's having an unbelievable spring. Those young guys are able to watch those older guys and learn. And talked about before, just the ability for those guys to kind of accelerate their development and their learning. They're doing a great job, and it's a group that continues to get better each and every week.
There's news out. Obviously, Jake decided to leave the team. It appears. What's your take on that? And obviously, conversations with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's what I think people forget sometimes, is that there's real life things out there, and I won't go too much into it. But like for Jake, he's got other things outside the game of football. He's got a daughter, and he's got people that he cares about that he needs to take care of, and so it's not just all a football decision. So he's got to make some decisions and look at some things that are best for him and for his family. And I told him today, I said, man, I love you, and I will do whatever I can to help you from now until forever. And he knows that. And so, sad to see him go. He's been such a joy and such a great teammate to the people around him, and to people at East Carolina. We'll support him and pull for him, whatever happens for him. But we got a lot of other guys in the room that will continue to coach and develop and get ready to play.
Watching them today, it just seemed like it was the guys behind Caden. It was almost like new energy, competing for that number 2 spot. I don't know. What's your take?
Yeah, no, I mean it is what it is. Like they see it as an opportunity. Like everybody, we got a great room, and they love each other and they respect each other. But at the same time, like they're competitive, and so they see it as an opportunity. They see reps, they see positions that they can go get, and you saw that today. You saw some guys all of a sudden like had a little sense of urgency to them, and so that was nice to see, and that's what you want, and that's what we know about the room. It's a talented room, and I was excited for those guys, because it just means more reps and opportunities for them to grow and develop.
Raheem's doing something that a lot of college athletes don't do, and that's sticking around even though he's not getting the playing time that he might want. But what are you seeing from him this spring?
Yeah, I mean, same thing as the rest of those guys. Like he's done a great job of just developing, getting better. And you're right, but again, like it's a testament not only to Raheem but to this place. Raheem loves going to school at East Carolina. He loves his teammates. He's a great teammate, and that's the thing I love most about him. But he takes coaching so well. I love when that dude walks in the room every day, and so do every guy in our quarterback room. So I'm excited for Raheem, because just like those other guys, it's a new opportunity for him, chance for reps with a different unit, and so we'll see how it goes moving forward.
Y'all have a ton of receivers, as you mentioned, some of the names. How do you, I don't know, get all those guys reps or evaluate them fairly, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, because I've been on the other side of that where it's like you got a couple of them and you're trying to protect them like crazy. But for us, it's, how can we get these guys as many reps as possible because they need it. That, like I mentioned a couple older guys before, like Tyler and Peyton that just got here. They're older guys that have played football, but they haven't really played, and especially in our system. And so they need a ton of reps, just like these young guys do. And we just try and map it out every day, like map out every rep and make sure that we're putting enough on tape that we can truly evaluate these guys and figure out who's going to help us in the fall.
In order to have explosion plays, obviously the quarterbacks have plenty of time. A lot of times you keep your tailback in and pass pro there. How do you feel like these guys are handling the whole blocking side of things?
The running back specifically, no, they're doing a great job, and it's really the same thing for those receivers. We ask those receivers to block a ton on the edge, and it's the same set of those running backs. Like, if you want the football, you better block, or else you're not going to be on the field because we ask those guys to do it so much. And so, they understand that, and if they don't pass pro, they won't be in the game, so it's hard to get touches. And they've done a great job, and it doesn't matter who they are. Even though some of those smaller guys like London and TJ, they've done a great job of sticking their nose up in there and fighting, and that's what it is. It's about a 2-second fight, and our guys, they've been willing to do that, and they got to continue to progress and get better and better at it.
With Carson obviously getting made up the center, who else is kind of working there right now, getting reps there?
It's a little bit by committee. Today we put Bryce Weaver in there and just kind of force-fed him and, see what he can do. He adds some different dynamics in there that some of those other guys don't, just as far as he's got versatility. He can play the guard position. He played out at tackle for us last year in games, so he knows it from inside and out. But he adds a little bit of size, and he's got some pop. He's got the ability to move people. And believe it or not, I mess with him all the time. He's a goofball, but he's got some leadership qualities, and you want that from that position. You want him to be able to speak up and get guys pulling in the right direction like a Dustin Hall would. And so, Bryce has been in there, Darius has been in there, and we'll just keep going. None of those guys have really done it before in a game, but they've got the ability to snap, and that's a huge deal for us right now. All right, appreciate it, guys.
Scrimmage was phenomenal. I thought the guys did great. I think we were like 70% win on third down, and won the overtime. Did really good in the overtime period, and did a great job of affecting the quarterback. Sacks, takeaways, all that stuff. I thought they did well. Give up a few explosive plays, not that many on Saturday or Friday, and then today was probably not our best practice. I thought I don't know if it's because we had a great scrimmage or what, but I didn't think we started practice well, and the offense obviously came motivated. You know what I mean? Probably from how it went Friday, I guess. And but commend them, man. They got after us today. They threw it over our head several times. We're obviously very talented at wideout, and we gotta fix that up. We were doing some different things. You keep installing, you don't stop, and but that's no excuse. Now we did rise up today in the goal line period. I like that. I think we've got a really resilient group on defense. You know what I mean? They play with a lot of fire. We just got to kind of hone that in and send it in the right direction sometimes. But just overall, today was not our best day, but we did finish really well. Finished extremely well.
Your defense got the best of the offense in that hit drill at the end of practice.
Yeah.
The energy really cranks up in that drill, doesn't it?
Yeah, those drills are great. You're really testing people's toughness, but at the same time, I need to see them play football, and so those drills are great. They test your manhood and your character. That's what that's doing. And then we got to take that to the 11-on-11. We got to tackle well and be physical in 11-on-11 because ultimately that's how we're going to win and lose games. But yeah, we did. I was pleased with the physicality. I don't ever have to worry about these guys being physical. We got a physical group.
How much do you have to balance? I mean, you're practicing against a really good offense.
Yeah.
It may get frustrated, but they're pretty good too, I guess.
Yeah, and for them too, it's not, there's plenty of times when you're going against your own offense, your own defense. We're going to install what we need to install and not try to pencil whip them per se, right? You know what I mean? Or do our best not to. They're doing the same thing, right? So some days what we're doing may not match up, and that's not an excuse for today by any means. We did not play well today, but in terms of like balancing versus our offense, I think we got to worry more about us, and how we play the game. It's less about what we do and how we do it, You know what I mean? It's more about the how, right? So it's not always going to be perfect, but seeing us play with effort and stay on top and all those things, that's what you want to see.
How do you feel like the young guys responded to the first scrimmage? Obviously, when you get to the collegiate level, film
Yeah.
after a scrimmage or after a game is a lot different, and the way you guys handle things is a lot different than they do at the high school level.
Yeah, I think they're doing well. A couple guys, young guys like DJ Spear from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2 was incredibly better. I see a guy like Ryan Roseboro, like a young guy from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, looking a lot better. So yeah, there's growth there, but not just the young guys; it's the older guys too. You know what I mean? There's some newness to some things we're doing, and some same as. But I think you got to remember we have several guys like we've talked in these press conferences before that are playing different positions, right? Okay, now that doesn't make them like they're playing like a freshman. They know how to play college football, but just the comfortability. You see the growth of Sam Danka from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2. He had a great scrimmage. You know what I mean? You see the growth of Jackson Barker from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, all that type of stuff. So, I think it's not just the young guys. It's just a lot of them. Just like I think Coach Harrell said in his press conference after it, you want to see that growth week 1 to week 2 in the season, just like you want to see in these scrimmages.
What have you seen out of Damian Wilson, who
Yeah.
played as much as he had played probably ever last year now with Kyle even stepping in bigger?
Yeah, he's probably had the best spring of anybody in that room. Really impressed with his preparation, and I expect that from him. He's a senior, but, he prepares the right way. He takes pride in commanding the front. He's playing Mike for us and commanding that group. I think he's doing a really good job in the weight room, trying to change his body and stuff like that. So he's had a really good spring. I'm proud of him, and hopefully he can keep stacking days and not be satisfied with what he's done so far through 10 practices.
Another guy who played a lot last year, the freshman KJ Romero.
Yeah.
Is he kind of flashing for you a little bit?
Yeah, he's a good blitzer. He's a really good kid and cares a lot about what we're asking him to do, and that's ultimately one of the huge reasons he's playing a lot, because he cares a lot. There's plenty he's got to learn. He's still only a second semester guy, right? You know what I mean? So you talk about young guys, man, that's another one that's probably grown a lot through 10 practices. But yeah, like we talked last time, that's a dynamic position. It's a primo position, and he's doing a good job at it for sure.
What's the biggest goal for you, going in the second half of spring or latter half for this defense to get where you want to go?
Yeah, I don't want to plateau, because you kind of start pulling back. Probably after Thursday, you're basically not installing hardly anything the rest of spring, and I don't want to cruise. I want to see us get better at what we have in and what we're doing. Right, I want to see guys not making the same mistakes. Right, because if you focus on not making the same mistake, eventually you'll run out of mistakes to make. And that's what we keep talking about. If you'll fix your mistakes day to day, by the end, you'll be running out of mistakes to make. And so I'd like to see us just not plateau and keep stacking days and finish strong these last 5 practices.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.